Women's bodies tell you everything you need to know about their sexual interest before they say a word. While men focus on what women say, successful men read what their bodies are actually communicating. Women can lie with their words, but their biology doesn't lie. Their subconscious sexual arousal leaks through micro-expressions, postural changes, and involuntary physical responses that reveal their true level of desire. This isn't just about reading body language. It's about understanding the biological reality of female sexual attraction. When a woman experiences genuine lust, her autonomic nervous system creates predictable physiological responses that she cannot consciously control. These responses exist because throughout evolutionary history, women who could accurately signal sexual interest to high-value males were more likely to reproduce successfully. But here's what most men don't understand. Women's lustful body language is completely different from their social politeness signals. The woman who's being friendly, professional, or merely pleasant displays entirely different biological markers than the woman who's experiencing genuine sexual arousal. And this distinction could mean the difference between wasted time with women who see you as a friend and focused energy on women who actually want you sexually. To understand women's lustful body language, you must first understand the biological mechanisms that create it. Sexual arousal triggers specific changes in the autonomic nervous system that produce involuntary physical responses throughout her body. When a woman experiences genuine sexual attraction, her sympathetic nervous system activates, increasing heart rate, dilating pupils, and redirecting blood flow to erogenous zones. Her body releases hormones that heighten sensitivity and create the physical sensations of arousal. These changes happen automatically and cannot be consciously suppressed. The evolutionary purpose of these signals was to communicate sexual availability to desirable males while maintaining plausible deniability for social protection. Women who could signal interest without appearing overtly sexual were more likely to attract high-value partners while avoiding social consequences. This biological programming explains why women's lustful body language often appears subtle or accidental. Her body is designed to send sexual signals that can be interpreted as interest by aware men while being dismissed as normal behavior by unaware men. This allows her to test male sexual awareness while maintaining social safety, understanding. This biological foundation helps you identify real attraction while avoiding misreading kindness as sexual availability. The woman who's sexually interested displays physiological markers that cannot be faked or suppressed, and one of the clearest is in the eyes. Eyes are the most honest part of the body because they're directly controlled by the autonomic nervous system. When a woman is turned on, specific changes occur in her eyes that she can't hide or stop. The most reliable indicator is pupil dilation. This isn't just about low light. Her pupils dilate even in well-lit environments if she's sexually interested. It's a deep biological response triggered by arousal. But that's not all. Aroused women also show distinct eye contact patterns. The sexually interested woman holds eye contact longer than socially necessary. She makes repeated eye contact and maintains a gaze that feels charged with tension. It's not the polite glance of a coworker. It's sustained, magnetic, and emotionally loaded. She may also give you what researchers call bedroom eyes. This is a combination of softened eyelids, slightly drooping lashes, relaxed facial muscles, and dilated pupils, creating a look that's unmistakably seductive. This happens because sexual arousal relaxes facial tension while increasing blood flow. And there's more: mouth gazing. Aroused women unconsciously glance at your mouth during conversation, repeatedly. This subtle action is hardwired into the brain, indicating an unspoken desire for kissing or more intimate oral contact. You may not consciously notice it the first time, but once you're aware of it, you'll start to see it everywhere when attraction is genuine. The difference is energy. Lustful eye contact doesn't just convey attention. It builds intimacy, desire, and connection. It's the kind of gaze that makes you pause mid-sentence, because you feel the emotional current between you. And while the eyes are incredibly revealing, they are just the beginning. When paired with changes in posture, breathing, distance, and touch, they form a complete pattern, a biological script of attraction. Sexual attraction creates specific postural changes that orient a woman's body toward the object of her desire. These changes aren't conscious, they're biological. Her body instinctively positions itself in ways that increase connection, proximity, and the possibility of physical contact. One of the most fundamental indicators is body orientation. A woman who's sexually interested will face you directly, even in group settings where it would make more sense to face someone else. Her torso, hips, and even feet will angle toward you. This is her body's way of signaling attention and availability. Even if her words remain neutral. Beyond orientation, overall posture changes too. The aroused woman straightens her spine, lifts her chest, and draws her shoulders back, subtly emphasizing her figure. This is not about conscious posing. It's a biological reaction triggered by hormones and nervous system activation. Her body wants to appear more attractive and receptive. Distance is another major clue. Women experiencing lust will unconsciously reduce the physical space between you. She inch closer during conversation, move into your personal zone, and create excuses to remain nearby. If you're sitting, she might lean in slightly or angle her chair toward yours. If you're standing, she might shift her stance to close the gap. Most revealing of all is how she positions herself relative to escape routes. A woman who isn't interested will usually place herself near exits or behind social barriers, a purse, crossed arms, or physical objects. But a woman who's genuinely aroused removes these barriers. She stays near you, places herself in positions that encourage contact, and doesn't block her body with defensive postures. And that brings us to the most powerful indicator. Touch. Touch reveals what words can't. Women who are sexually attracted initiate or invite touch in ways that feel organic and subtle, but are never random. It often begins with accidental contact that isn't accidental at all. She might brush her arm against yours while walking, or let her fingers linger when passing you an object. These touches are light, brief, and socially explainable, but frequent. They test your awareness and build subconscious comfort. As the interaction deepens, so does the intimacy of her touch. She may place a hand on your forearm while laughing, touch your chest while emphasizing a point, or make contact with non-social zones like your thigh or back. These are not gestures of friendship. They're signals of desire. Aroused women also touch themselves more in your presence. You'll notice her playing with her hair, stroking her neck, smoothing her thighs, or running her hands over her arms. This isn't fidgeting, it's body awareness. Her nervous system is lighting up, and her hands are drawn to areas that feel heightened and alive. It's also a subconscious way to direct your eyes to parts of her body she wants you to notice. Most importantly, the woman who's genuinely interested will respond positively when you initiate touch. If you gently place a hand on her back or arm, and she leans into it, maintains contact longer than needed, or touches you in return, that's a green light. She's not just comfortable, she wants more. The key is recognizing that lustful touch feels different. Social touch is brief, functional, and uncharged. Sexual touch carries energy, tension, and intent. When a woman is sexually interested, her touch carries weight, even if it's light. But it doesn't stop at hands and posture. Her voice will change too, and that's what we'll explore in part 3. Sexual arousal doesn't just change how a woman looks or moves, it also transforms how she sounds. Her voice becomes one of the most powerful, yet subtle, indicators of genuine desire. These changes aren't something she chooses, they're driven by deep biological processes. The most noticeable change is in pitch. Arousal tends to lower a woman's voice, making it breathier, softer, and slightly husky. This happens because sexual excitement causes muscle relaxation, especially in the vocal cords. So when a woman who normally speaks in a light, casual tone begins speaking more slowly, with a deeper or more sensual voice, that's not just mood, that's biology. You'll also notice changes in her speech rhythm. The sexually interested woman speaks more deliberately. Her pace slows down, and her words carry more weight. She may pause mid-sentence, hold certain syllables longer, or speak in a rhythmic, almost hypnotic way. These pauses aren't accidental. They're natural side effects of deepened breathing and increased body awareness. Volume matters too. Aroused women often lower their voice volume, forcing you to lean in closer to hear them. This creates intimacy, a sense of private conversation, even in a public setting. And the closer you get, the more her scent, her touch, her energy all become more available to you. Then come the nonverbal, vocal cues, the ones she doesn't realize she's making. These include soft sighs, breathy laughter, gentle murmurs, occasional breathy exhalations after speaking. These sounds are not fillers. They're signs of emotional release and sexual excitement. They happen when her arousal is rising and her body is seeking connection without words. Another strong indicator? Her laughter. When a woman is genuinely turned on, her laughter becomes more frequent, longer lasting, and noticeably more natural. She laughs more easily, more openly, and in a way that signals elevated mood and comfort, both hallmarks of sexual attraction. But there's one body language cue that's both ancient and powerfully Reliable. Hair manipulation. Hair play is not just nervous habit, it's deeply rooted in evolutionary signaling. When a woman twirls her hair, runs her fingers through it, or tosses it over her shoulder, she's doing more than fidgeting. She's highlighting her femininity, releasing pheromones, and drawing your attention to her most expressive features. Her face, neck, and chest. She may twirl or stroke her hair slowly, run her fingers through it repeatedly, fluff it or flip it to one side to reveal more skin, lean forward to create a curtain of hair around both of you. These behaviors are not random. They signal sexual readiness, confidence, and a desire for attention. The more frequently she does it in your presence, especially if she wasn't doing it before, the more likely it's a sign of arousal. Neck exposure is another linked behavior. The neck is filled with sensitive skin, blood vessels, and scent glands, and when a woman tilts her head or touches her neck while making eye contact, she's exposing a highly vulnerable sensual area. It's a sign of trust and invitation, but perhaps the most primal signals of all come from her breathing and pulse. These can't be faked. When aroused, a woman's breathing slows and deepens. You may notice her chest rising more visibly, her breaths becoming more rhythmic and longer. This isn't just oxygen intake, it's part of the body's preparation for intimacy. Her pulse will increase too. You might notice the subtle throbbing in her neck or wrist, especially if you're close. It's a physiological tell. Her heart rate is up, and her nervous system is fully engaged. You'll also see her take deep breaths before speaking, sigh after laughing, or momentarily lose her breath after eye contact. These cues are incredibly revealing, and when stacked together, they're hard to miss. In the next part, we'll explore mirroring, territorial behavior, and the deeper emotional signs that a woman sees you as a true sexual prospect, not just a social companion. When a woman experiences real sexual arousal, her body doesn't just respond internally, it starts to visibly prepare for intimacy. One of the clearest signs of this is how she changes her appearance, both consciously and subconsciously. Let's start with clothing behavior. A sexually interested woman often adjusts her clothing in subtle but revealing ways during conversation. She pulls her top down slightly to show more cleavage. She tugs up or smooths her skirt to reveal more leg. She removes a jacket, unbuttons a layer, or shifts her posture to highlight her body. To a casual observer, it might look like she's just getting comfortable, but in reality, these gestures are biologically motivated. Her body is preparing to present itself more attractively, sending signals of availability and desirability. You'll also notice changes in posture. The aroused woman often arches her back slightly to emphasize her curves, tilts her pelvis or hips toward you, angles her body to display her best features in profile. These shifts happen naturally. She's not posing like a model, she's subconsciously trying to look her best to the man she finds desirable. Then there's grooming behavior, which skyrockets during arousal. She might check her reflection in her phone, adjust her lipstick or makeup, smooth her dress, or run her hands along her thighs, reapply perfume or lip gloss mid-conversation. This is her body saying, "Be your most attractive self." Now, she may not even realize she's doing it, but it's powerful. It's preparation, not vanity. Even accessories become tools of attraction. She might play with her necklace to draw attention to her collarbone, remove and reinsert earrings to expose her neck and ears, adjust bracelets or rings to highlight her hands and fingers. Each of these movements helps direct your eyes to highly sensual zones, subtly, elegantly, and biologically. And when these gestures are repeated throughout the interaction, they become undeniable signs of interest. But the most important thing to remember is this: women who are not sexually interested won't do any of this. They won't keep fixing their outfit, checking their lipstick, or flipping their hair every 5 minutes. They won't unconsciously try to show more skin or signal vulnerability. Those behaviors take effort, and effort is a sign of emotional investment. So the next time a woman is around you, and she starts enhancing her appearance mid-conversation, pay close attention. It's one of the clearest, most consistent signs that her body is preparing for something more intimate. Coming up in Part 6, we'll dive into proximity violations, how women physically close the space between you, and how shared environments become cues for arousal escalation. Sexual attraction drives women to break the invisible boundaries of personal space, even when social norms say not to. These proximity behaviors are some of the clearest signals that a woman wants deeper connection, possibly physical. Let's break it down. The most obvious indicator is moving into your personal space. A woman who's sexually attracted will find reasons to stand closer than necessary, lean in, even when she can hear you just fine. Sit in seats next to you rather than across from you. Drift into your orbit during conversation. These are not coincidences. When she consistently chooses positions that bring her closer to you, especially when more distant options are available, that's attraction speaking louder than words. She may also seek shared space that feels private, even in public settings. For example, suggesting you move to a quieter area, standing beside you in a corner or alcove, creating a physical bubble where the two of you are isolated. Even briefly, this desire for intimate setting is her way of increasing emotional and physical closeness without saying it aloud. Even small changes in seating position reveal a lot. Aroused women will sit closer than expected, angle their bodies to encourage contact, position themselves so your legs or arms touch naturally. If she's doing this without flinching, pulling away, or adjusting to avoid contact, that's a green light. She's not just comfortable, she wants the contact, and it gets more interesting. Women also invade your space symbolically through object placement. She may set her purse next to you, place her drink or phone closer to your side, drop small items like keys or accessories in your zone. These gestures aren't accidental. They're territorial markers. She's subtly claiming part of your space as hers, blending environments to feel closer, even without direct touch. Now here's the key detail. Women are socially trained to maintain space. So when a woman repeatedly, voluntarily violates those norms, it's because her biology's overriding her training. These space-breaking behaviors are physical evidence of internal sexual motivation. They're low risk but high signal, designed to pull you into her world without having to make a verbal move. But proximity isn't the only indicator of desire. In Part 7, we'll dive into oral and sensual cues, behaviors involving food, lips, and shared drinks that reveal powerful unconscious signals of sexual readiness. When a woman feels genuine sexual attraction, her behavior around her mouth, food, and oral gestures begins to shift, and these signals can be incredibly telling. Let's start with lip behavior. The mouth is a highly sensitive, erogenous zone, and when arousal hits, blood flow increases, making the lips fuller, redder, and more active. The woman who's experiencing lust will often lick her lips repeatedly, even without realizing it, bite her lower lip softly during conversation, run her tongue across her lips while looking at you. These gestures are subtle, but extremely sensual. They aren't random. They're rooted in biology. When a woman is aroused, she unconsciously draws attention to her mouth as a signal of readiness for kissing, intimacy, and more. Then we have food and drink behaviors. Aroused women often become more sensual eaters. You might see her making direct eye contact while sipping a drink, slowly licking a spoon or finger after eating, sipping from a straw in a way that draws attention to her lips, offering you a bite or a taste of her drink. Why does this matter? Because these behaviors mimic feeding, nurturing, and sexual oral contact, all deeply connected to intimacy. The way she eats or drinks becomes a form of communication. It's playful, it's suggestive, and if it's happening while she's locked in on you with eye contact, it's almost never just about the food. Another cue, shared consumption. If she offers you her drink or dessert, or takes a bite after you've eaten, she's engaging in symbolic intimacy. Shared food is a social boundary. When a woman crosses that line, it often means she's already comfortable enough with you to test the waters of deeper physical closeness. And remember, women who are not sexually interested tend to keep their food consumption casual and minimal. No sensual gestures, no lingering looks, no shared bites. It's quick, polite, and disconnected. But a woman experiencing genuine arousal becomes aware of her mouth. She might apply lip balm more often. She might touch her lips or tap a finger to them when thinking. These unconscious cues are hard to fake and harder to hide. Next up, in Part 8, we'll explore how women signal vulnerability and openness through submission cues, including neck exposure, relaxed posture, and verbal deference, which are some of the most emotionally charged and often misread signals of all. When a woman is genuinely aroused, her body and behavior begin to signal openness, trust, and receptiveness, all of which stem from the deep biological instinct to connect with someone she sees as dominant, safe, and sexually desirable. One of the most powerful signals of all is neck exposure. The neck is both vulnerable and intimate. It contains sensitive skin, visible pulse points, and is biologically linked to reproductive signaling. When a woman tilts her head to the side, brushes her hair away, or leans back to expose her throat, she's not just relaxing, she's displaying trust. She's showing you that she feels safe and subtly inviting attention to one of her most sensitive areas. It's a nonverbal come closer, whether she realizes it or not. Next, observe her posture. A woman who feels sexually open won't sit or stand stiffly. Instead, she relaxes her muscles, leans into you rather than away, uses loose, fluid movements, keeps her arms uncrossed and her body uncaged. This is crucial. Tension equals caution, but relaxation equals invitation. When her body softens around you, when her movements slow down and become more graceful, it's because she's letting her defenses drop. Her body is literally allowing you in. Watch her hands. 2. The sexually interested woman keeps her palms visible, gestures openly, and avoids creating physical barriers like crossing arms or clutching objects tightly. Her hands may rest on her lap, open on the table, or even reach toward you during conversation. These are classic submission cues, signs that she's allowing intimacy to develop. Now let's talk verbal submission. This doesn't mean she's weak. In fact, confident women often do this when aroused because they're not afraid to lean into feminine energy. Examples of verbal submission include asking for your opinion or advice, deferring to your decisions. You choose where we go. Mirroring your language or tone, giving you verbal encouragement. I like it when you do that. These phrases and patterns reveal something deeper. She sees you as someone worth following, trusting, and potentially surrendering to emotionally and physically. But why does this happen? Because sexual arousal doesn't just increase desire, it also increases emotional vulnerability. Aroused women become more expressive, more playful, more open, and more likely to give control to a man they find desirable. It's an evolutionary expression of bonding and safety. Most importantly, these cues are not shown to men they see as just friends or as non-sexual. They're specific, selective, and biologically rooted. Biologically rooted. And in Part 9, we'll pull everything together, exploring how these behaviors form patterns, why recognizing clusters of signals is more accurate than watching for just one, and how timing, context, and intensity all play a role in decoding lustful body language. Understanding female sexual body language isn't about manipulation. It's about awareness, recognizing what's real and what's not. And that awareness gives you something few men ever develop: sexual intelligence. When you can accurately read a woman's body language, you no longer waste time pursuing women who aren't interested, get stuck in the friend zone, confuse politeness with attraction, second-guess yourself at every turn. Instead, you're able to focus your energy on women who are genuinely interested, whose bodies and behaviors are telling you they want more, even if their words haven't said it yet. This gives you an incredible strategic edge. You escalate when the moment is right. You walk away when the signals aren't there. You feel more confident and less anxious. You connect faster and more naturally. The truth is, most men never learn this. They chase after smiles and compliments, thinking those are signs of attraction, when they're often just signs of basic social interaction. But now, you know the difference. You've learned to recognize eye contact that lingers, touch that isn't accidental, voice tones that drop, and slow proximity that breaks social rules, presentation that becomes more intimate, mirroring, sinking, teasing, inviting, and you've learned that the body never lies. A woman can say anything. She can act polite, friendly, or professional. But if the arousal isn't there, the signals won't be either. And when it is there, her body will say it louder than her voice ever could. The choice is now yours. You can go back to guessing, hoping, waiting, or you can move forward with clarity, confidence, and awareness. Sexual intelligence is what separates men who struggle from men who succeed with women effortlessly. The woman who touches her neck, bites her lip, leans into your space, mirrors your words, exposes her throat, and keeps glancing at your mouth. She's not just being nice. She's asking you, silently, biologically, instinctively, to recognize her desire and respond, like a man who understands what's happening. Final words. You now have the awareness. You now see what others miss. You now hear what's unspoken. Don't ignore the signals anymore. She wants you to notice.